Today I'm going to go over 7 things that you should not tell your contractor. What's going on, everybody? It's me, Jason from Buy Build Sell, your Los Angeles contractor and designer. And today I'm going to go over 7 things that you should not tell your contractor. We're going to go through this list pretty briefly. I'm just going to hit the high notes, but of course, if you have any questions, leave them down below. I'd love to do a detailed dive into this subject and give you as much information as possible. But of course, we're going to do one quick video here, and if it really is something that resonates with you guys, I'll be glad to dive in and do a lot more. Number 1, never tell a contractor they are the only one bidding the job. So one thing that happens when you tell a contractor that they are the only ones bidding on a job is it gives them too much freedom to inflate or deflate where it's needed. Not that they're going to try to cheat you on the job, but a lot of the times there are certain factors to a job that you don't necessarily really know how much it's going to be. For example, demo. Some contractor might actually go ahead and measure a countable square footage to say, we are going to demo this much. Another contractor might say, well, we need to demo a lot, so I'm just gonna put a number in there for demo. Those two things are something that could eventually lead to an issue where at least you'll get a clearer idea. Okay, this person put $5,000 more for demo, but when you break it down to understand those costs, you're really gonna get a clearer picture. So if you go, okay, so first of all, always try to get at least 3 bids for your project. Now, not every bid is the same, not every contractor is the same, and we can go into a lot more detail about what those three bids really look like and the reason that you're getting them. The main thing is to understand as much as possible, and there's a reason why I even tell you get the design first, because that will help really clarify what those bids are going to look like. But from my perspective, I'm telling you, get 3 bids, and when you see 3 different line items for demo and 3 different costs, you're either gonna have to assume that they're just charging 3 different prices for the same work, or what scope is included in those things. This gives you the ability to then ask the contractor, hey, why, if one person is 10,000 and you're 15,000, what is that 5,000 extra? Don't come at it going, hey, you're way more expensive, I'm not going to use you for that. It's understanding what that 5,000 more is covering. He might be able to say, well, for the scope that we're talking about, yeah, it should only be about 10,000, but I'm actually assuming an extra 5,000, 1 for cleanup, 2 for protective measures, and 3, I'm actually budgeting in there another 10% just for things that are going to come up throughout the process. I don't want to be billing you every single time for another demo situation. I'd rather have demo on hand, know that that's what it's going to cost, and charge you appropriately. So that's one thing you want to do. Number 2, don't tell your contractor your budget. Now, I'm of the opinion that it's really important to understand a client's budget. So yes, the opinion out there is don't reveal your budget. But here's what I usually tell my clients, or what I tell my prospective clients about what I need to know and why. And here we go. What I like to do is I like to do something called the t-shirt price. We all buy t-shirts, we all have to wear t-shirts. It's something that just comes around in life. Now, I look at that and say, okay, not what is your budget. I don't care if you're a millionaire or a gazillionaire. I'm not looking to know what's in your pockets. I want to know what's comfortable for you to spend. Hey, by the way, since I've got you here, do you mind just going ahead, liking this video and subscribing to my channel? It really helps me a ton, and I really do appreciate it. When you go to a department store to buy a t-shirt, there are multiple prices for t-shirts. And for a $25 shirt, you're gonna put it in the cart and never think about it again. You may wear it every single day. You may never wear it once. You're not really that concerned about the cost of the t-shirt. But for a $100 t-shirt, you might hem and haw. You might not be so quick to purchase it. You might want the t-shirt, but you're not necessarily going to purchase it. But if you know that you really will wear it, you most likely will purchase it. So as a contractor and a designer who's going into this space to help my clients, I need to know roughly what their t-shirt price is. What are they ready to spend? Not what are they looking to spend, not what they're capable of spending, but what they are looking to spend. So that way I can understand, okay, you're in the right ballpark or you're not in the right ballpark. If I'm gonna go into a bathroom remodel for somebody and their t-shirt price on a bathroom remodel is $15,000, I can very quickly say, hey, I'm probably not the right contractor for you, or what is the reason you're looking to spend $15,000? Are you capable of looking at spending 30, or is 15 really your max? Because that might stop the conversation for us and they can move on to somebody else who's gonna be more well suited for them. So it's a really important thing to consider. The reason why you don't wanna tell a contractor your budget, especially when you're dealing with something that's in a key frame of what you're dealing with. Let's, for instance, use painting as the example. If you tell a painting contractor that your budget to paint a house is $10,000, even if the job is $6,000, they're gonna figure out a way to most likely try to charge you $10,000 because they know that that's your budget and they could fit things in that they would have covered anyways, potentially. You never really know, and every contractor is different, but that's the reason that you're going to hesitate on releasing your budget. Again, keep in mind that t-shirt price idea. It's really important to understand, and especially if you're gonna be reaching out to me for any services, be ready to give me that t-shirt price. Number 3 is a big one. It's never ask a contractor for a discount if you pay up front. You don't wanna be paying up front. It's not a smart thing to do. They can either take your money up front and never come back, or they can take your money and do a really poor job and you've got nothing to really keep them in place. You might save some money up front, but in the long run, I guarantee you it'll cost you a lot more. In California, the rule is pay the contractor either 10% or $1,000, whatever is less of the contract, and that will be enough to get them started on the job. Now, it doesn't account for material disbursements or anything that they need to bring to the job, meaning if they have to show up on the first day already out of pocket $10,000, they might be already asking you for the $10,000 either immediately once they show up or beforehand to say, hey, you need to pay for a certain amount of material to be brought to the job site. That's not on the contractor to be out of pocket for, but at the total contract, that's usually the rule of thumb. Either way, never pay a contractor in full. Always wait at least till the end of the project to pay them their final balance. There is no rule for that final balance amount, but as long as you're comfortable, that's the most important thing. Make sure that you know that they'll show up, that they'll finish the job appropriately, and that you can get the best out of them. Number 4, don't tell your contractor that there's no need to hurry. If you're in no rush to get the job done, they won't be either. And it could take a very long time for that job to get done. It can cost you not only time, but it can cost you money. For an example, if you own a house that you're not living in, you're gonna rent another house and wait for this project to be completed, and you've got a year's worth of funds to kind of have a place to rent and afford to do the remodel. If you tell your contractor there's no need to hurry, and that job ends up taking a year and a half because of that, you didn't plan for the 6 months that you had to be prepared for. So just a thought and something you don't want to do right away. Number 5, this is a big one because it could really dictate the cost of your contract. Don't let contractors choose their materials. I take it from the standpoint that a design plan is super important, and I always start with design when talking to my clients about the projects that we're going to be taking on. But a $20,000 contract for a bathroom and a $20,000 contract for a bathroom with a design are 2 different projects. It is completely different. The contract that you have for $20,000 with a design, you know exactly what you're getting for that $20,000. A bathroom that's $20,000 without a design, you might be getting the lowest of the low, and you have no control over what that finish is going to be. If you're looking for a cheap bathroom, either have it very clear that what the contractor will provide for you, a list of finishes all picked out that you're okay with, cool, that's totally fine. Or ask them to do a labor-only contract where you can pick out your finishes for you, or at least get a budget that you can then pick from certain items and know what you can spend on certain things. This is a really tough one for people to get along with, but it's the truth. It's just the way of our world. Never hire anyone illegally. If you're hiring a general contractor who is fully licensed, bonded, and insured, you shouldn't be too worried about any illegal people working on the job site. They've got them covered. But overall, it's a huge risk that you're taking when you're hiring someone that is not fully licensed, bonded, and insured, because if anything, God forbid, happens, it'll be on you or going after that person directly. And trust me, it's a really hard road ahead. And number 7, don't do any gentleman's agreements. A lot of people think that once they shake that person's hand, that deal is sealed and delivered and that you can count on it. But no, that is not the case. First of all, everything needs to be contractually agreed upon, because if you're just going based on a handshake, there's nothing to protect anyone in that situation, which is just dangerous for everybody. So don't do that. I honestly don't even care if it's just a $250, thing. Most of the time, that's a dangerous thing to do. Now, of course, for trusted clients, I usually don't even care. I'll just go send a guy and send them a bill later on. But even that shouldn't be done, because there's no contract involved. If they don't want to pay you, right, there's no proof that you did the work, and there's no reason for them to pay you for it. It does a lot more than just that. Of course, it gives a very clear, itemized list of things that you have to do for them, and puts that contract into a trusting situation where you know for sure that they are very clear about their scope of work and very clear about what you need to pay them for and why. A lot of the times, contracts can get very confusing, and down the line, you might have thought that your scope of work was something that didn't need to be done, and a client is expecting that to be completed, but now you can clearly show them within a written contract what was actually agreed upon. If you just do a gentleman's handshake, well, there's nothing to go back to, and that's really dangerous. A very simple demonstration of that could be that you agreed to build a fence, but never agreed to paint it or stain it or seal it. Nothing, just built the fence, and a year later it's wobbling and cracking and breaking, but whose fault is it? Well, he's gonna say, well, you built a fence, you should have protected it, and you're gonna go back to him and say, well, you didn't pay me to seal it or stain it or whatever, so why is it my responsibility? Really dangerous situation to be put in, and let's try to avoid that. Now, of course, I hope this video helps, and I hope that it's given you some clarity into this insight. If you wanna know more or have any questions in particular, please leave them down below. I read all of my comments, and I'd be happy to make more videos going into depth about any of this stuff. So it's my pleasure to give this information over to you. These all might seem like really simple ideas, but of course, there's a reason I'm making this video, is because it happens all the time. People get trapped into certain things that they should have just known from the beginning. So I really hope this video saves you from making any of those common mistakes. Don't take any shortcuts with your contractors, because I promise you will regret it. Work with people that you know you can trust. I promise you that is the simplest way to a successful project. Your contractor wants to help you, and of course you should want to help them. I hope this video helps, and I'll see you on the next video.